Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Cricket Clinic episode number 2. First of all, मैं मुदस्सिर की तरफ से, आसिफ की तरफ से आप लोगों का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ. Thank you for all the support that you gave us, all the positive feedback that we received for the first episode. तो
and
इसलिए
negative.
And negative as well. I mean, this is all constructive. We're taking it in a good way. और ये है कि आपकी feedback को सामने रखते हुए, now we are here with you. With our second episode. So सबसे पहले बता दें कि second episode में हमारा agenda क्या है. Quickly, we're going to reflect on the final game of the Pakistan-England series, which of course we know we lost. So what do we think about that? What went wrong? And overall उसके बारे में बात करेंगे. Secondly, हम देखेंगे कि क्या पाकिस्तान टीम का कोई mindset issue है और उनकी approach में एक issue है, उसको किस तरीके से ठीक किया जा सकता है. And finally, the Pakistan, New Zealand, Bangladesh Tri-Nation series is starting soon. In fact, when we upload this, so next day he most likely ये series start हो जाएगी with the game against Bangladesh. So उसमें we'll try to preview that series and talk about what our objectives should be. What should we try to gain out of the series before the World Cup. ओके तो सबसे पहले स्टार्ट करते हैं. मुदस्सिर, आपका क्या फीडबैक है? जब हमने लास्ट टाइम बात की थी तो 3-3 था. वी हैड आइडेंटिफाइड सम पॉजिटिव्स एंड नेगेटिव्स. ऑफ कोर्स अ लॉट वेंट रॉन्ग इन द फाइनल. आप क्या कहेंगे ओवरऑल? आप बॉलर्स की कहेंगे कि जी बॉलर्स डिडंट डू अ गुड जॉब? वुड यू रादर फोकस ऑन द बैटिंग? Where did we go wrong in the final, and what would you say overall about the final?
Yeah, so ironically, जो हम लोग जो बात कर रहे थे 6 गेम के बाद, एग्जैक्ट वो ही हुआ. वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो. हमने ये कहा था कि जिस दिन बाबर या रिजवान से नहीं हुआ या वो आउट हो गए चेस करते हुए, तो फिर टीम कैसे चलेगी आगे. और एग्जैक्ट वही हुआ. जब दोनों आउट हुए हैं विद इन पावर प्ले, तो लग रहा था मैच वाज ओवर. अगेन क्योंकि मिडिल ऑर्डर को हमने डेवलप ही नहीं किया है, तो बेशक ट्राई करते हैं और 10 ओवर में आउट हो जाते, मगर इंटेंशन ही नहीं थी. दैट वाज लिटिल एम्बैरेसिंग और इज अ बिग लर्निंग मोमेंट फॉर अस के देयर शुड बी अदर बैटर हु नीड्स टू स्टैंड अप एंड मीनिंग के गेम शुड हैव केप्ट ऑन गोइंग और चेज में रहना चाहिए था. एटलीस्ट 10 पर ओवर से खेलते रहते बेशक अगले 8-10 ओवर, तो एंड में तो फिर कुछ भी हो जाता है T20 में, 20 रन हो 40 रन हो. और उसमें वही
क्रिटिसिज्म है, सॉरी टू कट यू, वो जो क्रिटिसिज्म आता है कि जी बाबर और रिजवान बहुत सारे ओवर्स ले जाते हैं एंड देन दे डोंट लीव टू मेनी ओवर्स, और इसके अंदर तो देयर वाज एम्पल अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर द मिडिल ऑर्डर, बट अनफॉर्चूनेटली नोबडी स्टूड अप देयर, राइट?
तो मैंने लास्ट टाइम भी ये कहा था कि वो क्रिटिसिज्म ठीक नहीं है, क्योंकि यही स्टार्ट इंडिया भी ने भी किया है. कुछ जो अभी मैच हुए हैं उनके कि 80 for no loss and 90 for no loss in 9 overs is actually a great start. वहां से you can go to 200 total easy. इस सीरीज में इनफैक्ट बाबर और रिजवान का स्ट्राइक रेट have gone up. तो क्रिटिसिज्म थोड़ा था एशिया कप के फाइनल में, स्पेशली जो रिजवान और इफ्तिखार को बहुत ज्यादा स्लो खेल गए थे. तो स्ट्राइक रेट इंप्रूव हुआ है. प्रॉब्लम ये है कि मिडिल ऑर्डर हमने डेवलप नहीं किया है. स्टार्ट्स अच्छे मिले मगर कोई नोबडी कैन कैश ऑन. तो एक बस यही था कि टीम के लिए इट वुड बी बेटर कि बाबर वरना हो. हम पहले ही बात कर चुके हैं. और मगर स्टार्ट वाइज आई थिंक वो स्ट्राइक रेट का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमारे बैटिंग ऑर्डर का प्रॉब्लम है और प्लेयर्स का प्रॉब्लम है.
राइट. सो हम इसकी सॉल्यूशंस की तरफ भी आते हैं. आसिफ, आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहें? आई थिंक बॉलर्स के बारे में भी थोड़ी बात कर लेते हैं, या अगर आप बॉलर्स के अलावा भी बात करें. आई थॉट लाइक 210 odd runs for any kind of team is going to be a struggle anyway. तो वहां पे भी आपके ख्याल से थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम था?
I mean, look, I want to start first from a general perspective, then go to the bowling. But एक दफा जब पैंटी लगती है, तो you think, okay, that's excusable. Excuse my Bilawal Urdu, but when it happens 2 times in a row, there's a fundamental problem. And remember, this is an England batting lineup with no Livingston, no Ben Stokes, no Joss Butler, no Bairstow. And they demolished us. And this is against what is supposed to be our best batting lineup that we had, supposedly. In Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore in our home conditions when we won the toss and we had England batting when we wanted to, we batted when we wanted to. Everything that could possibly have been in our favor was there, and we got demolished. So that's a very bad warning sign. You know, you talk about in the medical field the stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. I think I've discovered a new stage. Having been through all of those in the last 2 days, I've now come to resignation. Unfortunately, I feel like there's a chance that this is as good as it gets for us. Maybe we just aren't as good as we thought. And I made the cardinal mistake of watching the highlights of South Africa, India, and seeing how they play. We're just not on that level. But I know we'll talk about that later. Specifically about this, the bowling, you know, you can bowl, Wasim can bowl Yorkers, Hasnan can bowl pace. That doesn't matter if you're bowling 2 to 3 rubbish balls every over. When you're bowling on the leg side, you know, you're bowling a full toss, you're bowling, you know, right up to in the batter's spot. When you've got fine leg in, you don't have a long leg, the square leg, deep square leg is very square. It's easy. Any competent batsman can put it away. You bowl a short ball without pace, anyone can line up the gap and hit it. So it doesn't matter if you bowl with pace. If you're bowling 2 to 3 rubbish balls per over, you're going to get scored upon. Agar aap dekhein, 200 sounds like a lot. All it is 2 boundaries and 2 singles every over. That's all it is. And we delivered 3 rubbish deliveries every over. And so it wasn't hard for them. And one thing I want to point out is when you have, I want to know why Mohammad Nawaz is in the team. This is now 2 big matches in a row. You look at the Asia Cup final, you look at this was essentially a final where Babar gave him just 1 over. This is an attacking bowler who takes wickets. Aapka jo part-time bowler hai, Iftikhar bowled 4 overs and he bowled very well. So if your part-time spinner is bowling well, why don't you use your full-time spinner who's there to take wickets? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so about Hasnan, actually, we have some numbers. So Hasnan had an rate of roughly 9.93, but his power play economy rate was actually pretty good, 6.37. Wasim, on the other hand, had 11 runs and over in the series. The Hani had 12.75. So again, I mean, this is, इनमें से किसी ने भी कोई खास performance नहीं दिखाई. In fact, Hasnan was marginally better than the other 2.
Yeah, well, but it's when you use him. It's when you use him. In the power play, he bowls very well. In the later overs, he is not bowling well. Although in the final, I think they all bowled pretty poorly, except for this, you know, the spinners.
Yeah. मगर जब हम मैच चल रहा था, हसनैन एक आध बॉल खराब कर रहा था, मगर उनसे लग नहीं रहे थे और वो आउट भी कर रहा था. तो हम लोग यही कह रहे थे उस वक्त उसने 2 ओवर इतने अच्छे किए थे. We knew, हम लोग उसी को कह रहे थे कि यार इसके ओवर करा दो. कम से कम 1 ओवर उसका और करा देना चाहिए था. हसनैन को रोक के फिर शादाब आया है नवाज की जगह. शादाब ने 30 रन दे दिए उसको और फिर हसनैन 15 ओवर बाद आया है. फिर वही हुआ जो हसनैन के साथ होता है. तो वही बात है कि इट्स नॉट अबाउट कैप्टन की तो है ही मसला, वो तो हमें शुरू से पता है. मगर आजकल इट्स नॉट ओनली कैप्टन. आपके पास वो सकलैन बैठे हैं बाहर, बॉलिंग कोच हैं, वो सब इज अ स्पिनर. हाउ कैन ही लेट नवाज बोल 1 ओवर? वो खुद स्पिनर है. फिर कोचेस क्या हमारे. तो लगता है क्रूज कंट्रोल पे चल रही है टीम. मतलब क्रूशियल पॉइंट पे ना कैप्टनसी में फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी बहुत ही कम है, बॉलिंग में भी और बैटिंग में भी.
अच्छा, इसमें आप एक चीज जो हमने जिक्र नहीं किया वो हमारी फील्डिंग भी. आई थिंक आवर फील्डिंग रियली लेट अस डाउन इन द फाइनल एज वेल. एंड आई वाज एक्चुअली लुकिंग एट सम स्टैटिस्टिक्स. 2022 के अंदर जो जितने हुए हैं T20s, उसके अंदर जो हम टॉप की 8 टीम्स देखते हैं, we have one of the worst record when it comes to catching efficiency. Our catching efficiency prior to the final was 77.8%. So we caught 77.8% of our catches, which was sort of the third last. हमारे से नीचे इंडिया है marginally 75.8% and then श्रीलंका. और मेरा ख्याल है जो हमने कैचेस छोड़े हैं हो सकते हैं हम रॉक बॉटम ही चले गए हैं. तो आई थिंक वो भी आपके ख्याल है दैट कंट्रीब्यूटेड एज वेल, जो बाबर से कैचेस छूटे हैं एंड देन यू नो वी कुड हैव ब्रॉट लाइक 20-30 रन्स डाउन द टारगेट. दैट माइट हैव बीन मोर मैनेजेबल.
फील्डिंग हमारी पैची रहती है हमेशा, मगर ये कि रिसेंटली एक आध गेम में अच्छी भी की है. तो मगर दिस वाज अ डिजास्टर. वो इतने कैच छोड़ के यू आर आउट ऑफ द गेम बेसिकली. अगर आप इतने कैच छोड़ोगे तो यू मेड श्योर कि वो 200 करे, वरना हो सकता है 170-180 पे आउट हो जाते, गेम वुड हैव बीन डिफरेंट. सो मैच वहीं हार गए कैच छोड़.
I think what's more worrisome is, you know, जो पहले 6 matches the catching wasn't that bad. What bothers me is we have this trend now of dropping catches in big matches. This is the final for us. You know, the 2 catches Babar dropped were atrocious, and same with Mohammad Wasim. But who can forget Hassan Ali last year?
Yeah,
who can forget Fakhr in the big match against India in the Asia Cup? Who can forget, I don't even remember who dropped it when in the quarterfinal against Australia.
Rahat Ali
Exactly.
World Cup. Yeah.
Exactly. Shane Watson, Wahab Riaz, both one of the best spells in one-day cricket history in the World Cup, and we dropped a catch. So it's as if we've picked the biggest opportunities, the biggest matches, and we dropped them. I don't know how in 1992 Aqib Javed took that diving catch of Graham Gooch. That is the one exception. Otherwise, for some Ramazan tha. That's what it was.
Ramzan.
But the thing is, this thing of when the stage is brightest, the lights are brightest, this is the biggest stage of all, and then you don't come up to the mark, you drop catches, that's a problem. That's a real big problem for us.
बिल्कुल. अच्छा चलें अब थोड़ा सा ट्रांजिशन करते हैं. माइंडसेट के बारे में मैंने बात की थी. Do you think एक माइंडसेट का एक इशू है और इसके सॉल्यूशन क्या है? Let's try to be constructive. What can we do to improve the mindset? Do we need, you know, different players? या आपके ख्याल है इन्हीं players के साथ हमें, you know, इनको you know, training की ज़रूरत है, simulations की ज़रूरत है to sort of get them in step with the rest of the world? Because clearly हमने देख लिया जिस तरह आप बता रहे हैं, इंडिया से साउथ अफ्रीका के गेम के अंदर एक डिफरेंट माइंडसेट लगी है. 230 भी चेस कर रहे हैं. So they gave it a go. They went till the end. आपका क्या ख्याल है इसका क्या करना चाहिए?
Well, I'm glad you brought up India, South Africa. So आज रायली रूसो ने 100 किए हैं. ये वही रूसो है जो PSL खेल रहा है 4-5 साल से. He's a good player. मगर ऐसा भी नहीं है कि वो कोई like a number 1 batsman है या मतलब कोई nothing extraordinary. He's a really good player. और उसने आज 100 किया है. तो इसका मतलब एक mindset is the key कि PSL में इफ्तिखार की स्ट्राइक रेट 175 है, 170 प्लस है. वो 100 मीटर छक्के भी मारता है. ये टीम में आगे क्यों डरे हुए हैं सारे ये? आई थिंक माइंडसेट इज अ बिग डील इन T20 और इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द कैप्टनसी या मैनेजमेंट. प्लेयर्स तो यही है. ऐसी टीम में आप मैक्सिमम 2 चेंजेस कर सकते हैं. मगर सिलेक्शन ओवरऑल क्रिटिसाइज तो हर कोई करता है, मगर अगर आप पीछे देखो डोमेस्टिक तो प्लेयर यही है पाकिस्तान में. ज्यादा एक आध आप चेंज कर सकते हो बैटिंग में. तो माइंडसेट आप एग्री
करते हो उससे कि आपका ख्याल है यू नो सेम प्लेयर्स के साथ? मेरा थोड़ा सा मुझे डिफरेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है, बट आई
बस एक चीज में एक सजेशन है कि जस्ट ट्राई टू बी पॉजिटिव. और दूसरा ये कि फखर जैसे लोग जब ओपन में रन करते हैं तो उससे पूरा माइंडसेट टीम का नीचे चेंज हो जाता है. जब स्टार्ट स्लो और डरा हुआ हो तो सब डरे हुए होते हैं पीछे. दूसरा ये कि जब PSL नेक्स्ट ईयर होगा तो जो कोचेस हैं या प्लेयर्स हैं they need to volunteer. Everybody wants to open. Middle order is wide open. So वो तो ऐड दे सकता है PCB के जरूरत पड़ा है मिडिल ऑर्डर बैट्समैन. बहुत ही बुरा हाल है. तो PSL में is opportunity to fix this issue.
आप सही कह रहे हो कि आप ज्यादातर टीम्स का मिडिल ऑर्डर देखो PSL में, चाहे वो टिम डेविड हो गया या रायले रूसो हो गया, बागर हो गया, ये फॉरेन प्लेयर ज्यादा परफॉर्म करें. हमारा जो टैलेंट आ भी रहा है जैसा साइम अयूब रिसेंटली डोमेस्टिक में या मोहम्मद हारिस, ये ज्यादातर ओपनिंग स्लॉट या 1 डाउन के ज्यादा प्लेयर्स हैं. तो वो उसमें जरूरत है. आसिफ आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहोगे माइंडसेट के बारे में?
हाँ, जो मुदस्सर कह रहा है कि वो बिल्कुल सही है. He's talking about PSL next year. Mindset did not change overnight. You can't. It's a big philosophy change, and that's the problem because the World Cup is coming up very soon. So if you want to do an accelerated mindset change, if it's even possible, the biggest factor I think you need is management that is willing to listen. This is the problem that we have. If you look at the press conferences, anyone suggests anything, Saklan Mushtaq baat karega ki ji kudrat mein din hoti hai, raat hoti hai. Bakwas ban gaya. Stop talking. Shut the hell up and talk about cricket. We all want Pakistan to win. You know, kehta ki dua kare. You know, jitni duaएं और नमाज़ें इस टीम के बारे में, you know, we have got their back with duas. We've got their back with namaz. These guys have got to. Their job is to be willing to understand and listen. And if it's not working, you adapt. Now, unfortunately, again, these are the players that we have. I don't think there's going to be major changes. I know you may favor 1 or 2 coming in, and that's fine. For the most part, these are the players that we have. So, you know, you have to have it coming from the management, trickling down to the captain. And then I think the biggest thing is, you know, that could instill confidence with these middle order batsmen is to say, look, you are our guys. We are not going elsewhere. This is what we have. We trust you. We know inside you have what it takes to do it. And, you know, build up the confidence from inside. That's where captain and management comes in. Yeah, we know they're all capable. We've seen all of these guys perform in PSL. We've seen all these guys perform internationally. We know they're capable. The problem is They all have a horrible run of form at the same time. You know, Nasser Hussain said it best the other day, कि जो है, with any Pakistani middle order batsman, if one shot goes over for 4 or 6, you know the next one's going straight in the air.
Right.
So they just have to get some confidence, and that's the job of management, to instill that. I know that there was something that the PCB head talked about, and I agree 100%, which you may talk about later, is shuffling the order a little bit. You don't lose it. Shadab and Nawaz have not had any innings at all. Why not stick them higher up? Let them hit. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, you've got Iftikhar, you've got Shan, who can stabilize and still get you to a reasonable total. But why not take the risk? If you don't take a risk, you're never going to get the total you need.
बिल्कुल आपकी इस बात से मैं ये करूंगा कि मुझे ये चीज समझ नहीं आई कि जब 2 दफा हमने इनको ट्राई किया ऑफ द ऑर्डर, नवाज अगेंस्ट इंडिया इन दैट क्रूशियल गेम, ही डिलीवर्ड. शादाब को हमने ट्राई किया अगेंस्ट अफगानिस्तान, ही डिलीवर्ड. So जब ये 2 डिलीवर कर रहे हैं, तो what makes us go back to then the status quo कि नहीं यार हमें इफ्तिखार को ही लाना है, या in this case हमने शान मसूद को ही लाना है. When you know, and particularly these 2 players we know are good against spin. शादाब आते साथ ही आदिल रशीद को hit him for a 6. एक intent था उसके पास, एक टेक्निक भी अच्छी है. So
and people like Shan are like a security blanket to have afterwards. You lose these guys quickly and all of a sudden we're going to collapse. You have someone who maybe won't hit as quickly, but he's stable. So I think that you have to have a pliable mindset. And it seems like everyone knows that except for management and the captain. And that's just what I find frustrating is, we don't know anything. But if we can see this, if everyone can see it, why can management not see that? That's the problem.
कुछ problem है शादाब का. पिछले मैच में he didn't even came to bat. He was pushed
the hamstring. He pulled the hamstring
का मसला चल रहा है.
Exactly. तो hamstring वो तो इस मैच में announce की ना कि hamstring उसकी है. I think वो fit नहीं था, इसीलिए उसने मैच भी मिस किए. और there's something wrong with his fitness कि he is not coming to bat. हो सकता है कोई grip का problem हो या batting कोई shoulder या कोई niggle ऐसा है कि there is a reason he is not coming up.
And then that would be, I mean, he is a key player for us. So I hope that they manage him well for the New Zealand series as well. Because अगर खुदा ना खास्ता वो अगर out हो जाते World Cup में, तो it's going to really mess up our overall balance. And to find his replacement, there is no replacement.
Even when he was available, they were not taking advantage of his talents, you know. And I think some of this is the after effects of that big concussion. You know, we've seen, honestly, in the short span, we've seen Babar have his worst match. We've seen Shadab have his worst match. We've seen Fakhr have their worst matches. I'm glad they're getting it out of the way. So by the time the World Cup, they can peak.
I mean, Shadab fielded very well. जो उसने run out किया था final के अंदर. He was back to.
It makes you scratch your head when you see about the drop catches in the finals.
We don't expect that from Shadab, you know, all people. So I think in the interest of time, हमने discuss कर लिया. I think काफी हमने content वगैरह इसके ऊपर focus किया. Why don't we shift towards now what's next in store for us? So when we upload this, you know, second episode, हमारी न्यूजीलैंड और बांग्लादेश के साथ ट्रायंगुलर जो सीरीज है वो स्टार्ट होने वाली होगी about in a day's time. So what do you think are maybe 3 or 4 key objectives that we need to have, keeping in view the World Cup? क्या हमारी, what are some of the areas we need to focus on? What are sort of the opportunity areas that we need to fix before the World Cup starts?
I think Dhani went with the team. I really want him to bowl in that part of the world. कि उसको देखना चाहते हैं कि न्यूजीलैंड और ऑस्ट्रेलिया में does it make a difference to his bowling? He's in travel reserve, I know. But otherwise, bowling to sort it out hai. Hasnain was a surprise. Last 2 ODIs in England, Hasnain फिर भी लग रहा है कि he's trying. He has different variety और slow ball अच्छी है. Length change कर लेता है. धानी की तरह one dimension bowling नहीं कर रहा. So Hasnain is a good sign he's improving. So bowling में धानी, if he can get some game. और batting में ये है कि again I don't know, अगर थोड़ा सा ऊपर नीचे करके देखें बैटिंग ऑर्डर, हैदर अली को वन डाउन गलत खिला रहे थे, मैं अभी भी कह रहा हूँ उसको खिलाएं.
I wish फखर अगर होता तो फखर को हम ट्राई कर सकते थे, डाउन जो बात आ रही है, बट फखर इज नॉट अवेलेबल, सो देन इन्हीं के साथ हमें
यही कर सकते थे कि बाबर वन डाउन आए, फखर ओपन करे, शान इज ओके उन पिचेस पे शायद he might turn out to be better like a player for those pitches. फिर हैदर को खुशदिल के हैदर को खिला सकते हैं 5 में नंबर 5 और 6, क्योंकि वो हिट तो कर सकता है. तो I think उससे ज़्यादा तो कोई change नजर नहीं आ रही.
अब आपने बॉलर्स की बात की है तो आई थिंक उसमें मेरा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ये है कि वर्ल्ड कप के लिए तो मोस्ट लाइकली होपफुली शाहीन कम्स बैक, नसीम इज देयर. Naseem has traveled with the team, so hopefully he can get a few games as well. So if Naseem and Shaheen and Rauf are playing, so then our sort of bowling, a pace attack is sorted out. So one thing perhaps we need to then find out is what is our pecking order, right? So अगर खुदा ना खास्ता इनमें से कोई इंजर होता है या किसी को रेस्ट कराना पड़ जाता है वर्ल्ड कप के अंदर, तो किसको हम लेकर आएंगे? तो उसमें अगेन जो नंबर्स मैंने आपके साथ शेयर किए थे, ज्यादा फर्क नजर नहीं आ रहा. I mean Hasnain, Wasim, Dhani, pretty much, they've all gone for a lot of runs. Dhani, we were really getting excited, but unfortunately 12.75 economy rate, only 3 wickets, right? So I guess this could be something that they can kind of shuffle 2 or 3 pacers, दो को खिला लें, कभी किसी को ड्रॉप कर दें, ताकि थोड़ा सा और क्लैरिटी मिल जाए कि भाई हमारे who is our next in line if one of these top 3 bowlers sort of has to be rested or gets injured. आसिफ, आप क्या इसमें ऐड करना चाहोगे कि क्या हमें फोकस करना चाहिए?
I think actually to piggyback on what you said, and then I'll come to my things. I think this is a perfect opportunity to do that. What we saw against England is not necessarily translatable to what we're going to see in New Zealand and what we're going to see in Australia. So Dhani, Hasnain, Mohammad Wasim have to be given opportunities because, like you said, we have to establish the pecking order of what happens behind our big 3. We don't know if Shaheen's going to be fit. And so for me, 3 things that I think that are important for this coming series. Number 1 is fitness. Is Naseem Shah fit? How does he do? And if he is, don't play him in every match. Preserve him because the people who are injured, we want to see how they are. The people who are fit, we want to make sure they stay fit. The World Cup is big. These are not huge, important matches. Like I said before, no one's going to care what happened in these matches. Everyone cares about what happens in the World Cup. Number 2, middle order, middle order, middle order. Have you ever heard me say that before? We just have to work on that and try and see what our best combination is and just keep on trying with the guys we have. The third thing I think that's important, we lost to England, who is one of the best teams ever right now. New Zealand is a great team on their home territory, so we're probably not going to do well against them. I'm very, very interested to see how we do against Bangladesh because we are a team that is a confidence team and we need to reestablish our winning ways. So can we beat the teams that we're supposed to be beating? That's important. If we start losing to Bangladesh, no offense to my Bangladeshi side, then red flags are really going to start coming up. Right. If we beat Bangladesh and show that we have our strengths, our core strengths, and even if we don't beat New Zealand, but we establish some of these things, the pecking order, the middle order, I'm fine with that because all I care about is the World Cup. This is just experimentation for the World Cup. That's all it is to me.
Right. And particularly given that Bangladesh recently hasn't had a good record in T20s, right? वो पिछले आपके World Cup के अंदर भी they didn't qualify for the next round. और the Asia Cup के अंदर भी also they had a poor series. I mean, Cup, Asia Cup. Plus जो हम last time Bangladesh visit भी करने गए थे, we beat them 3-0. So I think we should definitely try to win all our games against Bangladesh to get this confidence. And I think on paper, we definitely are a better side.
But Pakistan has a tendency of bringing out the best in our opponents. Sadly,
that's true. Particularly Afghanistan, I could feel is one team which somehow,
मैं एक बात मैं बताऊं, New Zealand में there is a bigger chance of collapse. Somehow New Zealand में pitches में bounce और ज़्यादा है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया से भी ज़्यादा है. तो न्यूजीलैंड में अगर disaster अगर हो तो it's okay.
Right.
Game पता चलेगा वर्ल्ड कप में. ये 200 रन बन रहे हैं, 250 रन बन रहे हैं. पाकिस्तान को लोग राइट ऑफ कर रहे हैं, मगर ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज अ डिफरेंट एनिमल. वहां हो सकता है 175 विल बी अ विनिंग स्कोर. मैं पाकिस्तान को लोग राइट ऑफ कर रहे हैं, दिस टू अर्ली, इट्स अ लॉन्ग वे टू गो. वो रियल क्रिकेट ऑस्ट्रेलिया में ही होती है. तो just we have to be patient.
Inshallah we'll do well, or we'll basically rerun this episode and we'll say Mudassar called it first.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We never write us off, but the thing is this: I think it's pretty clear that for us to beat these big teams, we have to execute to perfection, and they have to have a bit of an off day. I think you hearken back to 30 and a half years ago, the '92 World Cup, when we were as low can be. And our captain at that time said, play like corner tigers. This is what we need to do. You play with desperation, you play with confidence, you play with, you belong there, and act like that. And if you do that, it'll translate on the field. But we are such a confidence team. So we really need to win against Bangladesh and really get our act together. And the execution will fall in line after that.
मैं इसलिए भी कह रहा था क्योंकि BBL में 200 रन नहीं बनते इतने आराम से.
BBL में
I'm saying it. वो BBL में 150-160 होता है स्कोर.
बिल्कुल. और या उसके अंदर हमने देखा है कि sort of ये स्कोर जो है डिफेंड भी हुए हैं. I think one other thing that perhaps we need to sort of focus on is try to get more confidence with regards to our fielding. जो मैंने fielding की बात की थी, and particularly New Zealand has the highest efficiency when it comes to catching. Recently, they've caught 91.5% of their catches in 2022. So they're not going to give us, any second chances, any drop catches. So उसके अंदर जब वैसे ही इतना tough competition हो, और fielding के अंदर हम उनसे बहुत अगर पीछे हो, that's going to be a problem for us. So I think again to get our confidence back, ये जो जिस तरह हम देख रहे थे एशिया कप के अंदर के कॉल ही नहीं कर रहे. So many instances, 3-4 बेसिक चीजें जो आप क्लब क्रिकेट में सीखते हो कि यार आपने कॉल करनी है. So those.
Do we have a fielding coach right now? Do you know?
I don't think so. Do we?
That एक ज़माना था a few years ago when we had, was it Steve Rickson, who was our fielding coach, and we were at the top level with fielding. And
ये जो हम चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी जीते थे 2017 में, उसके अंदर बहुत कैचेस पकड़े थे हमने, बहुत कम छोड़े थे.
So for some reason the board seems to have deprioritized having a fielding coach, which is so very important for Pakistan. You need to have that, and the effects are there.
हमारे पास.
Go on, अच्छा.
I saw
he should probably not be there anymore, I think.
I saw a statement.
Right.
अच्छा.
चलें जी, thank you so much. I think हमने जो कवर कर लिए जो हमारे टॉपिक्स थे. Again, hopefully Pakistan is going to have a good series in New Zealand, but more importantly, जो हमने problems identify किए हैं, both in terms of our approach to the game, a little bit about the order shuffling, a little bit about fielding, इन चीजों के ऊपर हम fix करके, ये हमारी priority होनी चाहिए. And hopefully, if we do that, inshallah, we're still hopeful we will have a good World Cup series. We'll keep on coming up, inshallah, with new episodes, and hope you'll keep on supporting us. Thank you so much. Pakistan Zindabad.
कितना था?
He's on absolute fire.